Chapter 9.5, Graphing Bivariate Data. Unlike the univariate data that we had before, which only had one variable, bivariate data, we have two variables. So two things that we're actually looking at. When we do the graphs of bivariate data, it's typically done as a line graph. Okay, so when we do line graphs, once again, a number of things that we need to think of. We need to have a title. We need to have the independent variable on the horizontal axis. Now I'll explain that a bit more in just a minute, but basically that's the variable that we set. The dependent variable is the one that we measure, which forms most of our survey data. We need scales and so on, equally spaced and everything labelled, including units of measure. Let's have a look at worked example 11 down the bottom here. The mean daily maximum temperature in degrees Celsius for each month in Hobart at the Botanical Gardens is shown in the table below. So we've got the months and mean temperatures. Now, the month is the independent variable, the mean temperature is the dependent variable. That's the one that we're actually measuring. The month is a variable, it can change throughout the year, but we pick which month we're going to measure for. So we measure for February, get the mean temperature, it was 22.2 degrees. This is the one we're actually measuring, so this goes on the horizontal y-axis. Alright, so we've got two tasks. Firstly, draw a line graph to represent the data, and secondly, for which months was the mean maximum temperature below 17 degrees. Alright. Once again, when we draw our graph, a couple of things we need to know. What's our smallest value? What's our largest value? Well, for the variable of month, it's just going to be these months listed across the bottom of the graph on the x-axis. Up the y-axis, what's the lowest value and what's the highest value? Our lowest value is there in July, 10.5 degrees, and our highest value would be in summer, which would be here, 23.1 degrees in January. So I know my scale's got to go between there and there. So let's start drawing our graph. I've already started with our axes here, my months across the bottom here. Try to keep those evenly spaced as possible, use a ruler. It's a little bit hard on my page here. So I need to label that month, just like that. Up the side here is going to be my mean maximum temperature. And not forgetting the units, degrees Celsius. Now I had to go between 10.5 degrees and 23.1 degrees. I've got some scales here on the graph, and I'll just go up in increments of 5 degrees. Just like that. Now, I don't really have measurements below 10 degrees, so if I didn't put this part of the graph, I started with 10 degrees down the bottom here, that would be perfectly okay. Alright, now we start plotting our data on here. So, January had a mean of 23.1 degrees. So January would be up there. February, 22.2 degrees. A little bit less. March, 20.7 degrees. April, 17 degrees. And I'm trying to line the vertical one up there with this one and the horizontal one up with the 17 degrees. May, 13.9 degrees. June, 11.4. July, 10.5. August, 12.2. Starting to warm up again as we get into spring. September, 14.9. October, 17.4. So this one should be just a little bit above that one there, because that was 17, that's 17.4. November, 19.4. And December, 21.9. We can draw these up as a nice curve. Like that. We need a title. mean maximum temperature in Hobart. And it really is a lovely place that isn't that cold. All right, that's part A done. Part B. For the month, which months was the mean maximum temperature below 17 degrees? So if we like, what we can do is grab a ruler. I know that this measurement was 17 degrees. If you've got lines on your page, it's obviously easier. So which months are we below that? We've got May, June, July, August and September. And that's what you'd write for part B. Just like that. Okay, and we're done.